And
guys.
we're live.
We're live.
Happy Friday!
Woo!
It's
Friday!
So we're going to show you another functional test we use. It's going to be cats and dogs today. So we're going to go through the exercise, and then again like last week, we went through hanging or forward bending, and we're going to show you what cats and dogs has to do with how we assess people. And even if you do that exercise, I'm sure a lot of people do that in a yoga class or any other exercise program, but we're going to show you what we look at when we look at that exercise and what that tells us. Ready, Katie?
Ready.
All right, Kirsten.
I'm ready.
So how about if you go, so your side views to the camera
Yep.
on the floor. There you go. How's that look, Katie?
Perfect.
All right, perfect.
Front and center.
Yep, so you want to make sure your hands are directly under your shoulders, knees are directly under your hips. And
Don't hyperextend your elbows.
right, don't hyperextend your elbows if you can. Palms should be flat to the floor. What?
I'm gonna fix her elbow.
All right. And
That's better.
fingers should be straight ahead, meaning now I like to use the reference point of your middle finger pointing straight ahead. If you actually get your hands too turned in, that'll actually make it make it harder on your shoulders. So yeah, don't do that.
Long story
So-
short.
And you want to make sure there's some distance, about I usually say 4 to 6 inches between your knees and your feet. Again, if you get your knees too close together or your knees closer in than your feet, that'll also make it harder on your hips. So once you're in that position, then what you're going to do is round your whole spine to the ceiling. And once she goes up in that position, what we're looking for is a uniform curve from her cervical spine here at her neck, and then all the way down here in the thoracic spine to here in lumbar spine. So now if you notice here, for Kirsten, the biggest part of her, the flexion and rounding here is coming right here in her kind of mid-thoracic spine.
Just a little.
So we'd like to see for her to get more flexion in her lumbar spine, so she has more of a uniform curve. So now let's go into the extension part. And keep those elbows straight. Good. So now when we go here, again, uniform curve going into extension. So now again, from the lumbar spine, the thoracic to the cervical. So if you look at here, she's getting a lot in her lumbar spine, not quite as much in her thoracic, and then a lot of hyperextension into her cervical spine. And then you can see how her elbows actually don't want to stay straight in this position. So because of so now we'll go into a little bit what we're looking for and what that tells us. So we will look at this because if she can't get as much extension, you can relax your head so you're not cranking and going crazy there. But because she can't get as much extension through her mid back here as we'd like to see, she just kind of goes into collapsing her elbows, and it's harder in this position for her to keep her palms flat. So you can try to coach someone through it if they maybe just don't understand it first, but if once maybe you do, if they do that to start, but if they still can't do it, then you're going to try to maybe figure out why they're doing it and bring another functional test to see why that's happening too. But again, she's getting a lot of extension, hyperextension here at her lumbar spine, and then if she really goes up how she was before, pick her head up again. So she can really hyperextend through her cervical spine. So you can relax out of there. So if you want to come up again. Okay, so now what that's going to tell us if we go back to our hanging that we did last week. So if you go sideways to the camera. So now if you bend forward from there. So basically what we just saw is coming out the same as in her hanging. So she gets a lot of rounding here, not so much here. And she gets some good thoracic rounding. Good cervical.
It's Friday.
Yeah, it's Friday, guys. But again, she, just like we saw in the cats and dogs, we can't flex as much relatively through here, through her lumbar spine. And her knees want to be a little more flexed there than we'd like to. So you can come on up there. Good. So now let's go in the cats and dogs again, but facing the camera.
You read my mind.
All right. So again, we really want to make sure those same points like we started with are there. And now again, if she goes into that flexion piece, what we're looking for in the front or the back views is to see, is her spine straight here? So now sometimes you would see one part of her back Now this is pretty common in people that play one-sided sports like tennis, baseball, or golf. The one side of their, especially kind of in the mid-back through the lat here, is going to be more developed. We see that a lot of times. It even looks like maybe just on the left side a little bit. Is that the case for Kirsten here? And good, and if you go down, drop down to extension there, good, and then again you can kind of see, so we'd be looking from the front and the back to see, is everything stay straight? So now you can relax there, good. So now if we come back up to forward bending again, let's use those, go up, hold on, go.
This way?
Yep, come back up, come back up. So now when we talked last week about what we see from the front and the back view of forward bending, hanging, so when we go forward, and let's do that, go bend forward. So now we're looking to see our hips symmetrical here. So now if you go down, again, the back muscles here along the spine, are they equal? But then also do the hips, again, does the pelvis roll over the top of your femurs the same? So now if someone did this and it was maybe off or is even, then we did cats and dogs, and then it was, you can come back up. So now go back to cats and dogs, go facing the camera. So now if we did that, again, either in the flexion or in going into extension here, if her pelvis did or did not go evenly, where you're rolling your pelvis over the top of your femurs here, and where's my pelvis? Oh, look at my pelvis.
Oh, we missed a couple weeks without it.
There's the pelvis. Remember my pelvis? Okay, so again, think about if I'm standing, that's gonna go, if my femur's here, my leg bone here, it's gonna go pelvis over the femur like that, which is the same thing in the cats and dogs issue. You're gonna roll like that. So now we're looking to see, is there a difference in this versus hanging? That's gonna tell us if someone's hanging, if they do it and there's a difference, and then we go to cats and dogs. So we're gonna try their eyes and maybe do other functional tests too, but to see, is it maybe an ankle that had a previous injury and never got rehabbed? And is it part of her spine? So does it happen there? Does it not happen here? So we're all different things to kind of really take into consideration to really hone in on really what's kind of the big issue there. So anything else you want to add there, Katie?
If I do, you're gonna make me get on camera.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Gotta be.
Hi, I'm Katie.
Hey guys.
There's Katie.
I don't really have much to add, just that I really liked how John went back and forth between the hanging and the cats and dogs today, because that's what happens when you're in the clinic, is we don't do just one of these tests. When I have a client come in, or any of us have a client come in, we go through a series of these tests and we really use them to pinpoint as much as we can what's going on. So we use one to kind of help figure out the next and kind of put the puzzle pieces together so we can get the most comprehensive approach to what you have going on.
Absolutely. Yeah, so it's really not just, so it's not random exercise, we're really honing in on really what's the issue here. So again, if someone comes in with back pain or hip pain or shoulder pain or whatever it is, we're gonna really take a look. Is it, again, the pelvis not moving, and that is it different left to right too? So someone comes in with a right shoulder problem, is it the right hip, is it the left hip? And so really kind of going through all these functional tests, that's why we do and take the time to go through these assessments to see what's happening on both sides. And it could be the opposite with with a hip issue, or back even, is trying to do movement with your arms or shoulders to see how that is and how that might change how your hips move. So all these different things are really just kind of really cueing on how the whole body's working and how we can get it back to the properly functioning.
Yeah, there's a method to the madness for sure. We're playing detective as we do these exercises.
All right.
Who's watching there?
We have a viewer.
Tim Harmon says good. Thanks, Tim. All right, so feel free to ask us any questions about that, and we'll be back next week with another functional test to show you guys and go over. Feel free to comment in the comment section. Share to your friends, please, and have a great weekend, guys. Thank you.
Bye everybody.